Hey there. Welcome to the E4 Fantasy Football Preseason Show. That's right. Nailed it first fucking try. With me, I'm Migs, by the way. I'm Migs with E4. With me today, we have our sports analyst. We have Brian.
How's it going?
And we also have Gage.
Thanks for having me.
Now, guys, y'all might recognize Brian. Brian's been on the podcast many times. He's also our editor. He also does a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff. Gage is the new face. We are bringing Gage on. He's our local expert as far as fantasy goes. He's been balls deep in fantasy for a hot minute, years, decades maybe. I'm not too sure. I heard he was around when it first got invented, but we'll see. So. The purpose of this show is we're just kind of want to help out people, right?
Yeah, we're going to go over the top 48 players. We're going to assume we're going to do a 12-person standard league, half PPR. We're just going to follow the Fantasy Pros rankings, and we're going to go round by round, just seeing who we like, who we don't like, some avoids, some bold takes, and just kind of see where we go.
Yeah, so we're here to kind of give you our input on people, and let's just go ahead and jump into it so you can kind of see what we're talking about here. So as far as the rankings as per filming, top 3 players: Justin Jefferson, Christian McCaffrey, and Jamar Chase. Now, guys, how are y'all feeling about these 3 players? Are they auto grabs, or are y'all maybe looking elsewhere?
These guys for sure should be first 5 players off the board. They should be included in that. I don't think you can miss with any of these guys. Of course, Jamar Chase, his quarterback. He had an injury recently, so that's something to monitor. But assuming he's okay going into this, I don't think you can miss with these guys. I think even Austin Eckler, Travis Kelce, I could see your argument for taking them number 1 overall. I don't really think there's a wrong choice here, just different philosophies.
Yeah, honestly, all 5 of these guys are to me, interchangeable for the number 1 pick. You tell me you're taking Travis Kelce, you want that positional advantage. Yeah, okay, I'll take that. For me, personally, I like Jefferson. If you're going to go wide receiver, Jefferson's the one for me. If you're going to go running back, I actually like Austin Eckler a little bit more. Eckler, who's on a high-powered offense, who has the most touchdowns over the past 2 years than any other running back. And, the counter argument is, are those touchdowns, is there going to be some regression? But, that's still, nothing's changed with that offense, still high powered. Everyone's healthy. Justin Herbert, who had a broken rib pretty much at the beginning of the season. There's no signs that Austin Eckler's slowing down. So
yeah, real quick, let me just get y'all's opinion on. I know some picks have a lot to do with your strategy moving into the league. Now, a lot of people like to do wide receivers first or acquire their running backs first, and a lot of people will just kind of overview Travis Kelce being at tight end position, going just for your value tight end later on in the draft. They don't like sacrificing an elite pick at a wide receiver or a running back. How do y'all feel about y'all strategies moving in? Do y'all do the wide receiver strategy or the running back core, or are y'all just kind of, I kind of read what the rest of the draft is doing and then do my own thing?
I think if you're in this position, the first 3 to 5 picks here, I think you just take who do you think is going to have the best season? Just take the best player off the board. Try not to think about it too much. But I think you can't overthink those things. But the league is changing. The bell cow running back is kind of disappearing. It's kind of harder to find a 3-down back with a lot of volume. So I personally tend to lean towards a running back. But you can also make the argument. Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. These are guys that are going to be getting as many targets as anyone else out there, more than anyone else, and so that's hard to make up too. So it really just depends on your philosophy, the guys that you like later on. If you think you can get a running back later on or a wide receiver later on who you like, just depends on your philosophy in the later rounds for who you take early.
Brian, let me ask you a question. What do you think is more scarce this season? Do you think there's more elite wide receivers that are scarce or more scarce running backs?
That's a tough one, but I think there's more scarce elite running backs.
So there's fewer running backs than there is wide receivers.
Fewer bell cows, as Gage said. Mm-hmm. But when going into the draft, I think you need to be – you don't want to go in, I think, with a certain strategy in mind. I think you need to be in this aspect of your life, you need to be fluid. You know,
Fluid.
in this one aspect,
Like water. Like water.
like it's okay to be fluid in your fantasy football draft. Now, I say that because initially, when you get to the draft, you don't know what's going to happen. You want to see what falls, right? Maybe after those first 2 rounds, whatever players come to you, at that point, I think you could then pick a strategy. Okay, like did the 2 best wide receivers fall to me? Did the 2 best running backs? Do I have one running back? Am I balanced, or am I going to go hero RB, double RB? So I think I think you can't just go in saying I'm going to do this. You got to see how it goes and then choose a path. Maybe two or 3 rounds in.
Someone could probably pick a player before you get to pick and throw your strategy off, right?
Exactly.
And then you're going through the rest of the draft trying to make up for what you want to do, and you're going to be left with a little hodgepodge, roster. You don't want that. But let's go. That was good. That was a good take on strategy. I feel like that's always something that we need to touch on, just because people are just like, I don't know who to pick. Like, do I go wide receiver first? That's something that we should talk about more. So we mentioned Eckler. I think Eckler is he's going to get touchdowns, right? So definitely, if he's up there and it's your turn to pick, take him. You're not. That's not a wrong pick, right? But we also have Travis Kelce, Hill, and Cooper Kupp also going first round. Now, this is going to be more your tier 2 players, right? They're not the elite of the elite, but they're definitely going to give you points. So how are we feeling about these 3?
I like Hill. I think he's
Tyreek Hill?
I think he's going to have a great season. He did it with a quarterback who, almost became a vegetable last season. He had Teddy Bridgewater for for a few games, and I think if Tua stays healthy, he's gonna have a top 3 season, possibly number 1 wide receiver season. And even if Tua does go down, I think he's gonna be a safe pick, and he's still gonna get targets and put up points. But yeah, so I like.
Do you think he's going to put up points like Jamar Chase or Jefferson?
Absolutely.
Okay, all right,
absolutely. Yeah, and I'm not really sure. I think Jefferson is probably he gets the most volume. He's probably going to be the best pick here. But Tyreek Hill just has the explosiveness. He can drop 50 points any given week, and I think he's up there with those names for sure.
Yeah.
Tyreek has the potential to finish as the wide receiver number 1. I don't think that would surprise anybody. So he's up there. Travis Kelce, of course, he's Mr. Safety net. We already know what Travis Kelce is gonna do. If you take him here, honestly, you could take him number 1. That's fine. And then Cooper Kupp, I think, is the interesting one right here. I think this is where you start maybe getting a little bit more risky. He's coming off the injury. He's on a fragile team. Vegas has the Rams as a 6.5, over under win ratio. So last year they just kind of shut things down. Stafford left. Cooper Kupp was out.
That could be a good thing, right? If they're going to be losing games, then that means they might be playing from behind more, and maybe even passing more.
It's possible.
So, it could go that way too, right? Like,
it could open the door for that. It could open the door for like last season where they just shut it down. Or is it even possible that Cooper Kupp gets traded? What if they just blow it up mid-season? So there's just a lot of variables with Cooper Kupp, and then you have the whole injury on top of it. But could we see Cooper Kupp finish as the number 1 receiver? Yeah, we could. He was number 1 when he left last season. He was having a better season than Justin Jefferson when he left. So it's a little bit risky, a little bit riskier. Like, I would rather have Tyreek Hill, just remove all those factors, give me Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
Then Cooper Kupp just represents another layer of risk.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, with Cooper Kupp, the only factor I'm really concerned about with him is his health and Matt Stafford's health. I think if those 2 are good to go, he's going to be a stud again, another potential number 1 wide receiver, league winner. But of course, that's a big if. If he can't stay healthy, he has had lots of injuries in the past. Matt Stafford had some elbow issues. But if they can both stay healthy, I like Cooper Kupp, but it may be too much risk with your first round pick. So I like Cooper Kupp. I probably would be a little hesitant to take him just given his little hamstring injury recently. But if he's healthy and good to go, he's a stud.
So picks 8, 9, and 10 are all running backs. It's an interesting 3. We got the Bijan Robinson, the rookie, Saquon Barkley, And Nick Chubb, sorry. Nick Chubb's number 9. Saquon Barkley is number 10 pick. Now, these are good. These are 3 running backs. Actually, one's kind of a gamble, I'd say. I think Robinson's a gamble. Nick Chubb, Barkley, they have their good games. They have their bad games. How are y'all feeling about these 3 running backs?
I like Saquon. I like Nick Chubb. I think they're solid. I think they're both in for big seasons. They're going to get a lot of volume, lots of work in the passing game. Bijan Robinson, however, I'm selling the Bijan Robinson hype. I'm not sure, and I think he has a good season, but to spend a first-round pick on a rookie running back going to the Atlanta Falcons with Desmond Ridder as the quarterback. Tyler Algier is still there. Their rookie running back from last year. He had 1,000 yards last year. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think he still gets his touches, just enough to hurt Bijan's value. So I do think Bijan will have a good fantasy year, but I don't think it's something you want to spend your first round pick on. So
do you think that in some leagues you're going to see him drop down to like maybe the start of round 2? Now, would you feel comfortable if you're going first, a few picks of round 2, he's on the table? Are you going to reach out and grab him?
This guy, he's a risky pick for so many reasons that are unknown. And if you're feeling like he's going to have this breakout season, you really believe that, why not take him? But for me personally, I think I would rather have someone who I know is going to have an explosive season. Like if we're talking round 2, like Amon-Ra St. Brown or, Tony Pollard or somebody like that. And again, I'm just real hesitant to take Bijan going into his situation that he's going into. It says I'm not speaking about him as an athlete. I think he's a great athlete. You're going to have a great future in the league, but I just don't like his situation going into.
You talk about the offense he's on.
Yes, the Atlanta Falcons.
All right, so Brian, you heard what Gage had to say about that. What do you think about Robinson?
Robinson, let me start just with these 3 picks overall. I'll make my way to Robinson, but if I'm in this zone, I do like Saquon most out of these 3. Saquon, we already know his talent, his explosiveness, no competition for touches, and he's involved in the passing game. He's already what we might want Bijan to be. Like, we've already seen it for Saquon. Give me Saquon on a pretty good offense in a bad division. They're going to score a lot. Give me that.
I agree.
Next up, I do like Nick Chubb. Definitely safety, feel comfortable. I do love that. If you don't want to take little risks, then Nick Chubb. We've already seen what he does every year. He's going to be one of the top running backs. The only thing with Chubb is he's not really involved too much in the passing game. Maybe he does a little bit more this year. And so,
we got a guest.
Okay.
Oh, Noel in the house. Pleasure to have a seat, Noel.
Can we edit him out? Can we edit that out?
Yeah, edit Noel out.
We'll cut. Now with Bijan, there's an argument to be made about Bijan. So let me just ask y'all, whenever Saquon came into the league, his first rookie season, what place do you think he finished at the end of the year?
No idea, Brian. All I got was drafting.
He finished number 2 on the season as a running back.
As a running back?
So why can't
as
Bijan
a
do
rookie?
that? As a rookie running back. There's a lot of rookie running backs that come into the league and just totally dominate.
Yeah.
And Bijan's one of those prospects that he could very well finish. He's just as good as a prospect as Saquon Barkley was, if not even better. You put him on a team, bad offense, but an offense where he's gonna get volume. He's a number 1 round running back. They went out, got their guy above Tyler Algier. He's gonna have volume. He's gonna be on the most heaviest run offense, one of the top 3 heaviest run offenses from last year. He's going to get volume. So I can see why people are on the Bijan hype. I do like him after Saquon and Chubb. I think he's placed at the back end of the round 1. I think that's where he should be going.
Okay. All right. Very good. I am selling on Robinson. Actually, I'm only selling. I think he's going to be great. I think he's going to put up points. But my certain kind of draft strategy is I don't like gambling on round 1 because he could come on and he could be like a Saquon Barkley and do great, or he could just not, right? He could just not get, the volume or just not transition well to the NFL. Like, not all players that do good in college do good in NFL. So I just don't want to waste not saying waste, but I don't want to use my first round pick on a gamble, right? I'd rather be more firm that, I'm going to get these points, right?
That's fair.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Now, I mean, if you're a gambling kind of guy, go out and get him, because I'm going to say, high ceiling, right? But also it could be a low floor, that one. Big risk, big reward with that one. But let's go ahead and move on. We have the 11th, 12th, and 13th pick. We have Stephon Diggs, Tony Pollard, and CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb's third. Lamb's
shit.
beginning of round 2.
Oh, beginning of round 2. Okay, let's just go ahead and just focus on the last two. I'm sorry, you're right. I didn't realize it was, yeah. So we got Stephon Diggs and Tony Pollard being the current last two picks, or last two ranked and the round 1 picks. How are you feeling about these two guys at the end of round 1?
I think Stephon Diggs is going to be a safe pick. He's always getting targets, always getting volume in a heavy pass offense with the Buffalo Bills. A great quarterback in Josh Allen. He's going to be good. He's going to be solid. But I think Tony Pollard is going to have a breakout season with all the volume he's getting in that Dallas Cowboys backfield. No Zeke Elliott around this year to vulture carries. He's looking like the man back there, and he's a big buy for me this year. I am in on Tony Pollard. I am drafting him. I am targeting him. I want him in the first round, second round if you can get him there. But I like Tony Pollard.
So how big is your sight on Tony Pollard? If you are, say, in the second seed, are you reaching for Pollard? Would you rather go, instead of picking someone like Jamar Chase or Christian McCaffrey, over Tony Pollard? Because I doubt he's going to be around for round 2.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'd take Tony over Christian McCaffrey. If you've got someone as explosive as that and you can get them there, then I think you go ahead and take that, especially considering the versatility of Christian McCaffrey, who ran for a touchdown, caught a touchdown, passed a touchdown last year. So they're going to be using him in all sorts of ways. But I think Tony Pollard is absolutely going to be at that tier right beneath Eckler and CMC. I think he has that potential to be a top 3
How about this? Your prediction right now, who's going to finish on top at the end of the season? You think it's going to be CMC, Eckler, or Tony Pollard?
I'll probably say Eckler, CMC, Pollard, if I was chosen between those 3.
Okay.
But you got to factor in things like injury as well, because I still feel CMC is still a risky pick given his injury.
He's injury prone, right?
And these guys all have their share of injuries in the past. Like Eckler's had his share of injuries, hamstring injuries, things like that, and of course Tony Pollard's coming off knee surgery this year. I'm really not too concerned with his knee. He looks good, and I think I'm riding with Tony Pollard this year.
Okay, Brian, what are you thinking?
So Stephon Diggs, I love him. He seems to be. It seems to be not such an exciting pick this year. There's just not a lot of excitement when people. Right, he's kind of like fallen out of. He's just there's nothing exciting.
What do you think that is?
Yeah, I don't know. I think because maybe people like Tony Pollard are around him. Ooh. You got Bijan Robinson. So people just kind of forget. But honestly, you should be excited if you leave. If he falls, I've seen him fall in some mock drafts to round 2. Dude,
wow.
Dude, I would be so happy. But it's because of people like Tony Pollard. And leading up to this podcast, we were looking at the rankings a few days ago, and Pollard was kind of mid-round 2, right? He wasn't normally here at the end of round 1. Well, we had Zeke Elliott signed. He was there was a lot of worry that Cowboys would bring on another running back, but then Zeke signs with the Patriots. Dalvin Cook signs with the Jets. Kind of solidifies Tony Pollard a little bit more that he's going to be the workhorse. So he kind of slips into the back of round 1, the day that we decided to film.
Yeah.
So definitely everything Gage said, agreed. He's going to be explosive. I'd probably take him the same order after McCaffrey, after Eckler, Pollard.
Yeah,
Pollard could definitely be.
I think these top 12 people are all excellent picks, especially if you could pick them up round 2. If any of these guys fall to round 2 and you just so happen to be on round 2 and you see one of these guys still in the mix, slurp him up like egg drop soup. Just slurp him up, dude, because believe me, that's a lot of value there for round 2. But speaking of round 2, let's go ahead and
let's jump into let's just jump right into round 2.
Let's jump right into this egg drop soup, baby.
Let's slurp up round 2.
What's wrong with you?
Go on, I can go on all day. I can have a whole show about what's wrong with you.
What the hell, man?
All right, so starting off round 2, we have CeeDee Lamb, Derrick Henry, and AJ Brown.
CeeDee Lamb, He's always putting up numbers, but I just feel like this is one of those picks that isn't sexy, that isn't really getting a lot of hype, not talked. And for me personally, I'd rather give me Derrick Henry. People are down on Derrick Henry. To see him at 14 on this list, and I know this is half point PPR. He's not too involved with the passing game. Doesn't matter, dude. He's he's getting older. People are concerned with his health. It's people are concerned about this Tennessee offense. I like the addition of D-Hop to this offense to soften the box for King Henry. I'm taking him sooner than pick 14 if he's there.
Yeah, I still think Tennessee's going to run a lot.
I think he's in that conversation with Nick Chubb, Saquon Barkley. I don't have any problem taking him in that area of the draft. I like Derrick Henry. I think he's going to have another good year.
I'm kind of out on Henry this year. I don't want to. There's a lot of things that I don't want to have to think about or deal with Henry. Of course, age. You mentioned age. You did mention offensive line. One of the worst offensive lines going into the season. Then you have. I did like the addition of D-Hop. I thought that was going to take a little pressure off, but then we find out that Treylon Burks gets carted off the field, which might have gave him more cushion. So we're just back to what maybe an older D-Hop and then bad offensive line Tannehill. Like I'm kind of another year added. Just more wear and tear on. I'm just out. I'm just kind of out. I'd rather in this range, in this whole round 2, I'd just rather go somewhere else. But I could see. He's won people leagues before. There's just so much love for Henry. So.
Yeah, but you're right. There's a lot of miles on that Tennessee offense, right?
Yeah,
a lot of miles.
He was a top 3 running back last year, and that's a past metric. Doesn't have anything to do with this year, right? But until he proves me otherwise, I'll continue to hang my hat on Derrick Henry, and I'll continue to go to the Derrick Henry well.
And that's do you want to get out before it gets bad, or do you want to be hanging on? It's just
that's true.
I'm out early. I'm gonna get out early.
I think Henry is one of these special athletes, though.
He's a freak. You're right. He's a freak.
Nature.
He is. Yeah.
And I think he's still got a little in the tank, but you know what? I think that day is coming soon, and there is a chance that it's this year. I don't think it'll be this year, but yeah, that day is definitely coming. So
yeah.
All right, but also we have AJ Brown for the overall 15th pick. We haven't really talked about him. What are y'all feeling about him as a wide receiver?
This is going to be a solid guy.
Solid pick.
Great offense, great offensive line. They've got Devontae Smith on the other side of the field to make plays as well. It's going to be interesting to see if that affects his target share this year. As Devontae Smith is still a young receiver. He's still developing. But you know what? I like AJ Brown as the true number 1 wide receiver of this offense.
Yep.
He's going to get lots of targets, lots of end zone work. And I think he's in a good place in the draft. I think that's pretty accurate, and I wouldn't mind having him on my team for that price.
Yep, he's a good pick. A little interesting facts after week 2, I think after week 2 or week 3, Devontae Smith was out targeted AJ Brown last year. So maybe just something, he on the other side he has an up and coming, young stud. Maybe he takes away a little bit, more targets. But either way, I think you're safe. One of the best offenses on the league. He's going to be looked at in the end zone. So
yeah, it's hard to say anything bad about someone on a good offense, right? You just know that offense is going to generate points.
But honestly, in this at this point, if I'm in round 2, there's other wide receivers I like more than AJ Brown. If we look at just the next crop, we got Devontae Adams and Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think I would rather have Amon-Ra St. Brown over AJ Brown. We just seen the explosiveness. We got just the volume that Amon-Ra got. I would rather have. I just feel like his ceiling is probably a little bit higher than AJ Brown's, and maybe even Devontae Adams. I think there's just a lot of data that's going to show an explosive season for Amon-Ra.
Yeah, I think Amon-Ra is due for a breakout season this year. He sat out a few games last year with a little ankle injury. If he stays healthy, I think that offense. They've got a really bad defense, a really good offense. They're going to be throwing the ball a lot. I like his situation this year. I think he's due for a breakout. I'm looking to target Amon-Ra St. Brown this year, and I want him on my roster.
What about Devontae Adams? We loving him or we hating him?
I'm loving him. There's a lot of people worry about moving to the new quarterback. Yeah, which is Garoppolo, right? Coming off an injury, Jimmy G. Which Jimmy G, he upheld an offense in San Francisco that carried the tight end Kittle He carried who was it? Debo Samuel. So he had
I think
superstars.
he was good. He was a good
he
quarterback.
carried fantasy superstarbars. Why couldn't he do the same with Devontae Adams? Right. He's still gonna get his targets. He's still gonna. There's no. I'm not concerned.
Yeah, he fed a full
Adams.
table of mouths.
Yes.
You know that there was a lot of people around that table, and he fed all of them. Yep.
Yeah, I like Devontae. I think he's quarterback proof. He did it last year with the backup quarterback when Derek Carr sat out a few games. I can't even remember the backup quarterback's name. So, I like him. Quarterback proof. I'm not worried about his production this year. I think he could be even going for a little value there. He could definitely outproject where he's being.
I've seen him fall a few in a few mocks, and if you get him at the end of the second, even at the beginning of the third, that would be crazy. Insane value.
Arguably the best wide receiver in the league.
Yeah, definitely.
So I like Devontae Adams, and I think he's due for a good year.
Right on. Well, what about the next batch of guys I have for y'all? We got Jonathan Taylor. I don't know, Wilson. You know, what was his first name?
Garrett Wilson.
Okay, there you go. And then Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, so let's just look at like the rest because I kind of value all these people in the same tier.
So we
right
got
here.
Jay Waddle and Olave.
Chris Olave, Ramondre Stevenson, and Najee Harris right here at 24. So that pretty much rounds out round 2. And these are all kind of, a couple of tiers back, of the elites. But I think the interesting ones right here, we have Jonathan Taylor, who is a elite running back, but is back here at the middle of round 2 because of off the field circumstances with contract. But he is on the practice field, still on the PUP list. So possibly, is there an ankle injury? We don't know. Is he holding in? This is where you're kind of rolling the dice again.
Yeah.
If you take him at the back of the round 2 and he plays hard all season, you're gonna do really good. You're gonna be in the playoffs. You're gonna get a crazy value. But if he sits, if he exaggerates a few injuries because he's mad at the contract, we all know about the Twitter feud or the X feud with his Jim Irsay. There was a couple comments made publicly, kind of ugly. For me, I'm just kind of staying away from it. I just want to avoid this whole thing. What do you think, Gage?
Yeah, I agree with Brian. I'm avoiding Jonathan Taylor. Aside from the off the field issues, which we don't even know if he's going to play. Right? Is he going to hold out? So I'm not spending a draft pick if I don't know he's going to be there to plug into the roster. Also, with Jonathan Taylor, this offense is not good. I don't think Anthony. This is a rookie quarterback who, if you watched him play at Florida, he really didn't look ready at Florida. And he's going to run the ball a lot. He's going to have some growing pains. This offense was terrible last year. I don't see it improving much this year. Anthony Richardson, he's a rookie quarterback who's going to run the ball too. So he's a rushing rookie quarterback. I am staying away from Jonathan Taylor, and I'm fading the entire Colts offense, to be honest with you.
Yep. Well, they're giving me a signal that we need to take a break. Let's go ahead and take a quick break, and we'll come back and we'll wrap up round 2 and get started on round 3. We'll be right back. All right.
I think in this, after talking about Jonathan Taylor, you can pretty much copy and paste my same feelings for Josh Jacobs. He's holding out right now. Kind of don't really want to draft him right here. Now, I will say at some point, if these guys fall enough into the 3rd round, I'm probably taking that risk. I'm probably taking that risk 3rd round. If they fall far enough, at some point you got to take them just, for the possibility. But right here, I'm not taking either of those guys.
So you're saying you're not taking Josh Jacobs or Jonathan Taylor?
Until I know that they're playing right now, not taking either of them.
Okay.
Yeah, this one's tough because we've seen what Josh Jacobs is capable of.
Yeah.
And for him to hold out, and we do have concerns about his volume going forward, right? Like, is that an anomaly? Is he going to get volume like that again? Are they going to bring someone else in to take the load off him? Because these running backs, after a few years of that kind of volume, it really affects them.
Yeah, they get tired.
I love Josh Jacobs. I think he could, if he comes back and plays all his games, I think he could be the RB number 1.
Could, yeah.
He could. But there is the possibility that all that volume was an anomaly. It's a risky one. This is a gambling man's pick right here.
Yeah,
okay?
for
This
sure.
is a gambling man's pick. He could be a league winner.
Mm-hmm.
He could be top 15.
Could not play.
He might miss
Yeah,
a couple
a few
games. It could
games.
be a goose egg for a couple games.
Yeah.
So it's tough because I love Josh Jacobs, but his situation is interesting and one to monitor. So
Yeah, definitely. What about Waddle and Olave at the tail end of round?
We got Waddle, Olave, and Garrett Wilson mixed in there.
Yeah.
Garrett Wilson, who just on the ESPN analyst, they just did their fantasy draft on TV, and Mike Clay took Garrett Wilson 8th overall.
Wow.
So Mike Clay, definitely one of the smarter guys there. You know, they kind of use his projections. Definitely, it was a little high for me.
It is pretty high.
On Hard Knocks, you can kind of see, and the one knock against the Jets is that their offensive line is kind of suspect. And, you know, of course, that offensive line doesn't give your quarterback time, doesn't give your wide receivers time to run their routes. It is a little scary. Kind of, you know, Aaron Rodgers is there. I can see it. But I kind of like it. I don't mind rolling the dice on Garrett Wilson.
He did get a quarterback upgrade, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, Rodgers is one of the greats for a reason, right?
Yeah.
He has some evasion to him. But we're talking old man Rodgers now. But
I have some questions about this Jets offense. Like Brian said, the offensive line.
Brees Hall coming back out of
not
injury.
great. You know, Aaron Rodgers coming off one of his worst seasons in the league.
Yeah.
Granted, you could talk about his rookie receivers, very young receivers. I don't know how much that had to deal with it. Now he's coming into a new system with Nathaniel Hackett, who's offensive coordinator, which we saw what he did with the Broncos last year, which was a dumpster fire.
We saw what Sean Payton said about
the
worst coaching job.
and so this is a big question mark for me. I'm not sure how well is Aaron Rodgers washed up. Why did he have a bad season last year? Was it because of his young weapons? Was it the system he's in?
Yeah.
How much free space does he have to work and do what he wants to do? How much is Nathaniel Hackett involved with this? We haven't seen him work with these guys before. I've got questions. I'm not sure I'm spending this pick on Garrett Wilson. I do believe the upside is there. Again, this is going to be, I think, kind of one of the riskier picks because I think the Jets are either going to be really good or absolute trash, and I don't think there's any in between for this team. So
I hope they're good. Because
me too.
I've never seen the Jets good. I would love to see it.
Not since Brett Favre days.
Dang.
Yeah. Which is funny. A Green Bay quarterback goes to the Jets.
Yeah.
So this is definitely one of those picks that could have me eating crow later. I could definitely see Aaron Rodgers slanging it and Garrett Wilson, you know, having a phenomenal season. But at the same time, there's a lot of question marks here.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I want to take that risk this early in the draft.
I think right here, if I'm looking for a quarterback and if I'm in this spot where I'm 19th, I like Waddle over Garrett Wilson so much more. Just
I do too.
The training camp reports, Waddle's having one of the best training camps for that team. Just the explosiveness that we saw last year, another year in the system. Same thing. You know, if he has his quarterback all season, how much more can he do? Dude, he's just explosive. He's going to have touchdowns. I love Waddle here. I honestly think he's the best value for the wide receivers over Olave, over Garrett Wilson.
I agree.
I'll take Waddle.
I agree, and I've been seeing a lot of hype for Chris Olave, you know, and I'm not sure I'm in on the Olave hype either. I think he'll have a good season. I'm not sure it warrants his position in the draft right now. You know, Derek Carr, he's a good quarterback. Is he a great quarterback? I wouldn't say he's a great quarterback. But this is a team that is going to be, you know, the wide receiver position is kind of behind Olave. Is Mike Thomas going to have a good year? Who's going to be getting all these targets? It looks like it should be Olave, but I'm just not sure if he is that kind of caliber of receiver, and if Derek Carr's talent translates to a big season for Olave.
Yeah, I like Olave right here. He is on a team that has one of the easiest strengths of schedule, so they're going to be able to put up points.
I think that's his biggest appeal.
The biggest appeal. Well, also check this out. He's going from Andy Dalton to Derek Carr.
That's big.
And last year he kind of had a little breakout season with Andy Dalton. Now you're getting Derek Carr, who's a really good.
I don't want to disrespect Derek Carr. I like Derek Carr, but is it that big?
It's better than Andy Dalton.
Have y'all seen him
lately?
lately?
That big of an upgrade?
He looks shredded, guys. Have y'all seen him?
Derek Carr?
Yeah, he is shredded now. I don't know what
yeah.
training regimen he went on or anything, but he does not look like the same Derek Carr as last year. Last year he kind of just looked like a guy. Now I'm like, yo, that dude is on a fucking diet. He's working
shredded.
out. He's shredded. He's like Captain
He
America.
has to be good if he's shredded.
He's
right?
shredded.
In body mass.
I'm just saying.
what he
I
does.
mean, he's doing healthier things, and I expect a better performance out of him.
Yeah.
But I will say this: I'm buying on Derek Carr this year.
You're buying Derek Carr.
I'm buying
okay.
Derek Carr. I loved him last year. I like to draft Derek Carr because I just like Derek Carr.
Yeah.
But I have high hopes for Derek Carr. I mean, maybe I'll eat the crow on this one.
Yep.
But if that crow is named Derek Carr, I'll fucking eat it.
Well, if you're buying Carr, then you're probably buying Olave. But I do like him. I think this is like you're trying to see the factors before they explode, and I think there's just a lot of factors that everything's lining up for that breakouts for another breakout season better than and honestly, if Chris Olave finishes as a top 5 receiver.
Well, you say you like him here, right?
Yes.
Like where he's going. So you like him more than T. Higgins or Devontae Smith?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
Interesting.
But of course, the other thing is Michael Thomas, which I'm not worried about Michael Thomas. He hasn't done nothing the past 3 years. I'm out on. I don't care if he's.
You're
there
selling
or not.
on Michael Thomas?
Yeah, he hasn't done nothing since 2019 or
I
2020.
hate Michael Thomas.
Dude, yeah,
Not
he's a peaky away from being out all season. Like,
peaky away,
yeah,
yikes.
he step on his foot, he's out for a game.
Okay, all right,
I'm
all
out.
right.
I'm out. So Chris Olave, honestly, I love Chris Olave. If I can get him right here,
All right, so to finish off round 2, picks number 23 and 24, that's Rondé Stevenson and Najee Harris. 2 interesting quarter running backs with interesting situations on their teams.
Yep.
I'm selling Ramondre this year, just with the addition of Zeke Elliott on a 1-year contract. Mac Jones hasn't really panned out to be anything special. That offense has no receiving weapons. It's just, they got the new offensive coordinator with Bill O'Brien. And we were drafting him here. The hopes with Ramondre Stevenson was that he was going to be just the volume was going to be king here. Now you have Zeke Elliott back there, vulturing carries, probably touchdowns. I'm selling Ramondre. I'm not in love with it. Not my favorite pick in this area right here.
Yeah, I think both these running backs, I'm selling on both of them, at least at this area. They'll be good later on, but there's other people in round 3 that I would rather take. Just they're a little too high for me, both of these.
So speaking of round 3, top pick number 25, we have Joe Mixon.
Yeah, I like Joe.
Are you picking up Joe Mixon over Harrison Stevenson?
I am.
I think I would. Yes.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
like the offense more.
Yep.
He's going to have more volume than Stevenson.
Yep.
The thing about Najee, we're kind of seeing Kenny Pickett develop. Is Kenny Pickett going to get it together? Is that offense going to be just better? Is he going to get more opportunities? I think that's going to be really key for Najee this year. I would rather, have Joe Mixon, who's tied to Joe Burrow, as opposed to Najee Harris, who is tied to Kenny Pickett.
Najee needs a lot of volume. He's very inefficient. I don't think they're going to keep running him into the ground. They're getting Kenny Pickett. They've got more weapons. They're going to spread it around probably a little bit more than lean on Najee. But in this round, there's a good case that we start seeing the elite QBs come in.
Yeah.
And honestly, in a lot of mocks, I see these QBs, they kind of enter round 2. So
really?
Yeah. Patrick Mahomes could even be a early round 2 pick I've seen.
Wow.
Jalen Hurts. So I know we're going off Fantasy Pros, but honestly, I think they're just going to go a lot more ahead than what we're seeing on these rankings. And just another, if you take one of these quarterbacks, these are the 3 elite ones. Like, you are going to sacrifice something else, but you're going to be getting extremely elite production at the quarterback every game. And so we had talked, I think just in some conversation that we had over the past few days, you had said that how valuable are these quarterbacks right here? You said that maybe you would want Travis Etienne or something else at this spot. And so I went to go look it up that night. So Travis Etienne, I think he finished somewhere a little over 217 points on the season last year. How many points do you think Patrick Mahomes finished with last year?
No idea.
417.
Yeah.
That's how many more points you get with these elite QBs. So yeah, you're sacrificing a little bit on other position players, but that's where this is where that value comes. More points spread out over the year, consistent. And that's similar. I think Jalen Hurts was right underneath, and then Josh Allen, they were right, within 20 points of Mahomes. So,
but what's the difference of getting Etienne and then later on picking up, like or just get. I don't know. What's the point differential from Patrick Mahomes from someone else like Lamar Jackson or just anyone else like Joe Burrow? You know.
Oh yeah, that's a
like
good
you know,
question.
like because those two will go later, right?
Right. Well, Lamar Jackson didn't really have the best of years. I think he
Nope.
started off hot, but yeah. What do you think, Gage?
Well, it's like you're saying. So we're comparing a quarterback to a running back here. What did ETN have? Something like 200. You said
A little over 200.
So I think it would be more appropriate to compare like say an 8th round quarterback pick and Pat Mahomes' numbers and see that differential, and then compare a 3rd round running back and then an 8th round running back and see their differential. And I think that would be a little better comparison, just because the QB position is the top scoring position. We all know the quarterbacks score the most points, so that could be a little misleading, right? But for the most part, I get what you're trying to say. Like, you're going to lock in the top position, the number 1 spot at this position. It's all about getting that edge. I'm not sure, especially if we're talking about for a 12-man league here. I think I'd be a little more willing to try and get a quarterback deeper and try and get more talent at the skill positions, running back and wide receiver.
So, quick question, Gage. Do you think the quarterback position is more important in a shallow league or in a deeper league?
I'm not sure that it's more important in either of those leagues.
Or to get an elite spot. I'm sorry.
To get an elite
get an elite quarterback, is that more important in a shallow league or a deep league?
Well, I think you're still paying an early pick, for a quarterback when you could be getting talent. So I'm not sure that the depth of the league is incredibly relevant here. But, you're still going to be sacrificing a skill position pick, right? So I think, if you really want that edge, you want to know for sure you're going to have one of the top 3 guys here. Then I think that's a good move for you to do that. Me personally, I'd rather stack up on skill positions. I think I can find guys later who are going to produce. Obviously not at that level, but I think it's harder to find these running back, wide receiver studs later than it is at this point in the draft.
Yeah. Okay.
So and that's just my personal philosophy. Of course, it can definitely be done, but that's just what I personally like to do.
Yeah. And so right here, if you do get the quarterbacks, I just looked it up. Lamar Jackson finished with 236 points last season. So it's just, man, it's just
that's a big difference.
It's
from
a huge
400.
difference.
That's a huge difference.
Over 17 games through the season. It's crazy. So if you're taking these quarterbacks right here, I love it, honestly. If you don't, then you maybe like someone at the back end of maybe in the middle of the draft that you think could end up in this tier of quarterbacks. Yeah. But yeah, I love it. If you take a quarterback, no problem with me.
I really think there's only 2 other quarterbacks that could be in, maybe 3 other quarterbacks that could be in this top tier kind of discussion, and I'd say that's Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, and maybe Justin Herbert.
Yeah, probably.
And I think that's it. And I think if you're okay with waiting for a guy later like Kirk Cousins, Geno Smith, something like that, who, they're really not the sexiest, but, I think they're going to have good years. And if you can find some good skill players, I think that's totally viable as well. But, there's definitely no problem with going out and getting that quarterback. It's just going to be a little more difficult to fill out those skill players.
Okay. All right. Well, let's keep the wheels rolling. Let's talk about Devontae Smith and T. Higgins, 2 wide receivers we're seeing towards the beginning of round 3 now.
Yep, this is interesting because this is the first. These are both wide receiver 2s on their team, right? So this is the first.
Mm-hmm.
These are the first wide receiver 2s we're seeing in the draft. I think Devontae Smith is probably who I'm leaning towards here. I don't think there's really a wrong answer here.
Okay.
I like Devontae Smith because of what he did last year, his volume, his offense, and you could say the same thing about T. Higgins. I just kind of like what I see from Devontae Smith a little more.
Yeah.
But I think you're pretty much splitting hairs here. Both these guys, I think, are appropriately placed in the draft, and it should be good additions to any roster.
Yeah, we agreed.
Brian, you're co-signing on that one,
Yeah,
Brian?
not much more to add to that.
All right. Josh Allen is also going around this time period, around this little pool here. I say, dude, pick the guy up, right?
Yeah, pick him up.
I say that's a
Take
no-brainer.
him.
Stud.
No-brainer. Now, let's talk about we have coming up. We have Mark Andrews, Hurts, and Etienne up next. Those are 3 different positions. We have the second tight end on the list, Mark Andrews. Some love him, some hate him. I love him.
You know, I think of all the QBs we've talked about so far, Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts.
Mm-hmm.
I think I like Hurts the most this year.
Yeah.
Just for his rushing ability, how much he runs the ball. I like Hurts. But, you know, out of those guys, Mark Andrews, I'm selling Mark Andrews this year.
Okay.
A super run-heavy team. Just added Odell Beckham Jr., who I really don't think is going to impact as much as people think he is. I'm not really sold on the OBJ hype. But they also did draft a rookie wide receiver, Zay Flowers. So I think he could have potential to be an X factor on that team. And, you know, just the addition of all the other targets, coming off a bad year, a team that runs the ball heavy. I'm kind of selling Mark Andrews. He hurt me last year. I haven't forgiven him. And,
Emotional.
And I'm just selling the Mark Andrews this year.
Emotional damage.
I like Andrews. If you take him here, I would probably take him if he falls for me in this area. I just like having a solid tight end, you know, that could possibly, you know, is it crazy? He could probably finish number 2, probably will, but could he get pretty close to Travis Kelce? Yeah, I think so. There are OBJ concerns plus other wide receivers, but they also got a new offensive coordinator who is expected to maybe open it up a little bit more. So they might see a different type of offense this year. You know, hopefully one that involves him quite a bit.
Yeah, I like Mark Andrews in this spot right here, only because I think there's only one other tight end in the top 48 picks, and that's Hawkinson. And he's going later on around number 45. Pretty much. He's a top pick 45, which we'll talk about later. But after that, I feel like there's a cliff. But I do think there's some sleepers this year. You know, quick shout out. I think Schultz for the Cowboys. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to be an excellent value.
He's
pick.
with the Texans now.
Oh, Texans now. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
there you go.
So I think he's a great tight end. Pick that guy up. I think, you know, the Titans are going to do good with him.
Texans.
But I'm sorry, Texans. I'm sorry. Never mind. I was thinking Titans. I was thinking Titans.
Scratch that whole take.
Scratch that whole take. Editor, scratch that whole take. You know what?
Cut that.
You're right.
Cut that.
You're right. Yeah. No, I'm actually sad that Dallas lost Schultz. I'm so sad about it. All right. Well, let's just keep going on. We have the 33, 34, and 35th pick. We got DK Metcalf.
We kind of brushed over Travis Etienne here. And I feel like this guy should be going in the second round. I like him more than Ramondre. I like him more than Najee.
Okay.
I think he's in that Joe Mixon kind of area. I might like him more than Joe Mixon. They did draft a rookie running back, Tank Bigsby, who, you know, they say looks good. I'm really not too worried about it. Head coach Doug Peterson says he wants to see this guy get 1,600 plus yards this year. And I like that offense. I'm in on the Jaguar offense. Give me all the Jaguar players I can get this year.
Why do you think he's rated so low then?
That's a great question.
I think it's just the other rookie running back. He had a really good showing in the preseason.
That probably is what it is.
And so maybe
he's going to be like a double-headed monster in the backfield?
Could be like a 60-40 split in the volume.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's possible, but Travis Etienne really didn't have a great receiving year last year, and he had a lot of hype out of college for his receiving. You know, Trevor Lawrence was his quarterback in college. Hopefully, they get that chemistry going, and he gets involved in that passing game. I think he could be in for a big year. I'm not too worried about the addition of Tank Bigsby. I think he's kind of low on this list, and I think he deserves to be taken a little higher in leagues.
Yeah, I think most people are just concerned about his volume, right? Like how much is this rookie running back going to be taking carries away from him?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. I guess we'll have to see. But let's move on. We're talking about Metcalf, Gibbs, and Aaron Jones,
and Keenan Allen to close out round
and also Keenan Allen to close out round 3. Thanks, Brian.
So we have DK. Let's just talk about the wide receivers. I like DK. I think he's just he's a nice pick. He's going to get targets. He's just a freak of nature. What is he like? 6'4", 220.
Yep.
Moves at crazy speed. He's gonna get looks at the end zone. I kind of like him here. If you end up going running back, I don't mind having DK as my first wide receiver. That's fine. Jahmyr Gibbs, or let me continue with Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen, another one. I kind of mentioned Stephon Diggs that didn't have a lot of energy around him. Keenan Allen is just another unsexy pick. Kind of right, just like there's just nothing there.
No sex appeal on that one.
No sex
right?
appeal.
It's not sexy, but that doesn't mean he's not going to produce. That's
true.
That's not what that means. You're not going to excite anyone when you put this name on the board.
What'd you say? It's not turning heads, you know.
Just because you kiss your cousin doesn't mean it's not a kiss, right?
What are we talking about here?
Know what that means.
What does that even mean?
I don't even know what that means.
Apply to Keenan. Y'all get it right.
Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, but just an unsexy pick.
Yeah.
But they did. So you have Mike Williams. I think they didn't they draft another wide receiver. The Chargers. I want to say they drafted an early wide receiver.
I can't remember his name. Is it like Quentin Johnson or something?
It might be
like
Johnston.
That?
Quentin Johnston.
Something like that.
So there is another one. Another top wide receiver going into that offense. And then you still have Eckler. So just a lot of mouths to feed in that offense. But Keenan Allen, we know what he can do.
It's a good offense to be a part of. I think the main concern with Keenan Allen is going to be his health and his age going forward. But if he can stay healthy, he'll be solid. Won't be the sexiest pick, but he'll produce for you.
What about the running backs here? What do you feel about Jahmyr Gibbs and Aaron Jones?
Jahmyr Gibbs is an interesting one. He got drafted to the Lions this year. He's a rookie running back. A lot of people are really hyped on this guy. He's not a big guy, 5'9", about 190, pass catcher,
guy.
lightning fast. And, of course, he's back there with David Montgomery. So we'll see how that backfield breakdown turns out. But, I like this guy. I think he has potential to be a top running back this year.
Yeah, me too.
He's in a great offense. That Lions backfield led the league in touchdowns last year.
That's true.
So if he gets a piece of that pie, then, I like the Lions offense this year. Give me the Lions offense. I'm taking Jahmyr Gibbs if he's here at this position. For the upside, I think he's got a low floor, high ceiling, and I like Jahmyr Gibbs.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, so that pretty much is going to put a cap on your round 3 picks. Yep. So let's just go ahead and take a quick break, and we'll come out and we'll finish the video out by just talking about round 4. See you in a little bit. All right, welcome back. So before we start round 4, we did skip over Aaron Jones. Gage, how you feeling about him?
I don't have a whole lot of confidence in this offense this year. Jordan Love, he's kind of a wild card.
Green Bay offense,
and maybe
right?
What did I say?
Yeah,
Green Bay offense. Yeah, the Packers.
That's for me tracking.
Yeah, the Green Bay offense. And that's not to say Jordan Love couldn't come out here and have a stellar season. It's just that we haven't seen a whole lot from him. A lot of Aaron Jones's production is from the passing game with Aaron Rodgers. You still got A.J. Dillon back there eating up carries.
Yeah.
I'm not super high on Aaron Jones, but I think he might be appropriately placed here. And I think he does. I think he has a good season. I'm not sure if he'll be as explosive or get as many opportunities as he did in the past.
One thing about Aaron Jones, I feel like he got a lot of the goal line touches, which definitely helps out, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, yeah, I agree with you. I think he's placed right where you kind of want to pick him up at. He's a good, flex or even like a RB2.
Well, the thing about the Packers, last year they would even go one drive Aaron Jones, one drive
they were kind of
A.J. Dillon. And it's kind of a weird thing. Like, you don't really know who they're going to go with in what situation. It's kind of not really a situation I want to be in, especially given Jordan Love's first season as a starter. Not really sold on the offense as a whole. I like Aaron Jones. He'll probably have a decent season for where he's rated at in this draft, but I think I will try to get picks with some better upside possibly. And that's not saying he doesn't have upside. He could definitely, Jordan Love could come out and blow the doors out. He could get tons of opportunity. But this is another gambling man's pick.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Well, let's talk about round 4. So we're going to start round 4 off with Amari Cooper, Calvin Ridley, and then we have, I'll just close my fucking
You got
thing.
Lamar Jackson and Deebo Samuel. So kind of like a crop of wide receivers along with Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
I think as we get into the round 4, we start getting a lot more question marks with these players. Definitely.
Sure.
So just questionable stuff. Lamar Jackson, I love the quarterbacks once you get to this 4th and 5th round, kind of the mid level. We got Lamar Jackson in here. We got Joe Burrow. Like I love these. I think both these quarterbacks could end up in the top 3 quarterbacks at the end of the year. Deebo Samuel and Calvin Ridley, Amari Cooper. out of these, Calvin Ridley has a lot of hype behind him. Kind of just piggybacking off what Gage said. Give me as many Jaguars as possible. Top 5 wide receiver when we last saw him. He looks great in training camp. I honestly think someone will take Calvin Ridley round 3 or even possibly end of round 2.
Really?
So if you want Calvin Ridley, go get him. You're going to have to maybe reach a little bit.
Wow.
Go get your guy.
Go get your
what
boy.
What do you think? You agree about that?
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I am buying the Calvin Ridley hype. This is a guy that could be a potential league winner this year for where he is going at in this draft. He's got top 5 wide receiver potential. Trevor Lawrence having a great year last year, and now he gets another weapon in Calvin Ridley. This offense looks great. I want a piece of it. Give me Calvin Ridley at this point in the draft.
Yeah.
And like you said, you probably won't get him at this point in the draft. If you want him, there will be that guy in the league who is eyeing him late 2nd round, early 3rd round, who sees the same things that we see and isn't going to let him pass. So I would target this guy early. I think he's got potential, league winner potential all over him.
Okay, what about Deebo Samuel?
Ooh, I'm fading Debo this year.
Hard fade.
Yeah, hard fade from Elite4.
Hard fade. When CMC got introduced to this offense, his numbers declined. He was getting a lot of work out of the backfield, a lot of targets. A lot of that declined with the addition of CMC. So as long as CMC is healthy and he's here, I don't see his ceiling. I just don't see him being a top wide receiver in an offense with lots of mouths to feed, especially CMC. So I'm out on Deebo Samuel for this price.
Yeah, agreed. Not much else to add to
Okay,
that.
up next we have Breece Hall.
Breece Hall's a great one to talk about. I think at this point he is crazy high for me to be taking Breece Hall in the 4th round.
Yeah.
We know he's coming off an injury. They're not going to just throw him back in there. If you take Breece Hall, you just need to assume that he's going to be not very good in the first half, or he's going to be ramping up, getting his legs underneath him, coming back off the injury. I think, though, if you do take Breece Hall, I think he could be a playoff winner. He can be the guy that gets you to the playoffs and possibly even win the playoffs. He's a more back half season, which on the other side you have Dalvin Cook. I think he's a front half season kind of player.
Yeah.
But one thing to note is that in these situations where you have these 2 running backs, if something happens to either guy, let's say midseason, something happens to Dalvin Cook, Breece Hall takes a freaking huge leap in value. Same thing the other way around. You have Dalvin Cook, something happens to Breece Hall, Dalvin Cook's all of a sudden a top running back for the rest of the year.
Sure,
So,
yeah, and I absolutely agree with that. But I'm going to be out on Breece Hall for this price right here. I really loved what he did his rookie season. I was really hoping big things for him this year. But you don't, as an organization like the Jets, you don't go out and sign a running back for upwards of $8 million if you don't plan to use him.
Yep. So
Dalvin's there. He's going to be lingering. He's going to be there just enough to hurt his value.
Yep.
It obviously means Breece isn't ready to start this season. So he's got lingering health concerns off a major ACL, MCL sort of injury. I'm going to be out on Breece Hall, and I agree with what Brian's saying about the back half of the season. I still think Dalvin lingers around, and I need those regular season points to get to playoffs. I can't be playing that, counting my chickens before they hatch. So I want someone here who's going to produce for me all season. And I'm going to be out on Breece Hall for this price point right here.
Yeah, I agree. Man, I just with the whole coming off of injury, I'm just not about it. And I think where he's going at right now, it's not worth it. But I feel like a lot of people are also hands off Hall. If you get him later on in the draft and he's still in the pool, I think he's good for like a later pick.
Yeah,
that's just how I feel.
A little
about
too high right here for sure.
Yeah,
I agree.
And even Ken Walker has some similarities. Zach Charbonnet, who was drafted, rookie running back drafted, splitting carries possibly, probably just enough to kind of annoy you if you're a Walker owner. Which I kind of like Ken Walker if you're going a wide receiver, like double wide receiver. Maybe if you go Mark Andrews in the 3rd, you're looking for a running back. Maybe you're doing a late RB strategy. Yeah, I kind of like Walker. I kind of like Sanders. Yeah, those are good targets for those strategies. But yeah, I do like other options in this.
These are 2 guys going into the preseason that I thought could have big fantasy impacts. Kenneth Walker and Miles Sanders. And where we're sitting right now, they both have groin injuries, both of them.
Yikes.
Going into the season. I don't think that's a game I really want to be playing with these picks, especially with Kenneth Walker, who has, the rookie running back behind him, who's kind of got a little bit of hype. I don't think I'll be drafting Kenneth Walker at this point. Miles Sanders is a little more interesting to me, as he's likely the 3-down back. He's going to be getting a lot of volume. Granted, this Carolina offense is kind of a question mark with the rookie quarterback Bryce Young.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure that's really a game I want to play either. But for sheer volume, I think Miles Sanders is worth the consideration. And I do kind of like where he's going. If he were healthy, I would be higher on him, but it's kind of hard to say. And we kind of did gloss over Amari Cooper here. What do you think about Amari Cooper?
Oh, Amari Cooper. Man, dude, I'm selling. I'm just
Really?
not. I'm just not going to be picking up Amari Cooper. He's not on my radar, right? It just as much as my gut instinct.
That's just your gut instinct. Okay.
Yeah, I have no facts to back up how I feel. All right, I'm just saying. I don't feel it in my plums.
Yeah.
I don't feel it there.
Listen to your plums, dude.
Yeah.
Listen to those plums.
So,
But yeah, I think my plums are telling me Amari Cooper is in for a good season.
Really?
I like, he had half a season last year with Deshaun Watson, and now he'll have a whole offseason with him. Hopefully they're getting some chemistry. I like, his skill set, big physical receiver. That offense should be good this year. Deshaun Watson hasn't been everything that we were hoping for since he's returned to the Cleveland Browns, but I do think he has a little bit of a resurgence this year. They're going to have to pass the ball. There really isn't a whole lot of other options on that team. Donovan Peoples-Jones and David Njoku. Amari Cooper should be getting plenty of targets on a healthy offense. So I like him. I think he's appropriately placed, and he would be a good addition to any roster.
Yep, agreed.
Okay. What about DJ Moore making the switch to the Chicago Bears? How are we feeling about DJ Moore?
I want to like this so much. I want to like it so much, but the Bears organization won't allow me to like it. I don't know why they're so bad every year. On paper, they should be such a good team. They're a really run-heavy offense with a quarterback who likes to run.
Yeah. For
Granted,
sure.
he's never really had a receiver like DJ Moore. I want to like this. I think the potential is there, but I think there are better options right here.
You don't think the Fields and DJ Moore
it could be
hookup's
great.
going to be happening?
I love Justin Fields. I like where he's going in this draft. I think he's got as much upside as any quarterback with his legs this year.
Mm-hmm.
But it really what it is it's that organization, and I'm not sure why they can't get it together. I think they have all the talent, and they should be.
Chicago Bears is really interesting for me just because there's so much hype for Fields, right? Because he did phenomenal last year, right? He came in, just started kicking ass and taking names, and this year he's still going late, 5th round, but I feel like he has the potential to score like the other elite quarterbacks, right? Because
with the other Russian quarterbacks, definitely.
Yeah.
I think he has that potential. For sure.
So it's like, I say Fields is an interesting name to be looking at, especially around this time of the draft. Do y'all think anyone's going to be reaching for Fields, like
Absolutely.
over Lamar Jackson?
I think so.
I could see it.
I think
I
so.
can see it, right?
Yeah.
I can see it.
so.
I mean, I don't know.
I wouldn't even think you were crazy.
DJ Moore's an interesting choice though too.
Kind of, you're betting on the talent. You're betting that it's going to come.
We've never seen Justin Fields with the wide receiver of his caliber.
Yeah.
What really holds me back, like I said, is this organization and the coaching, and I'm not really sure why they're not good, but they have the talent. It should be good. I just wouldn't feel great about picking DJ Moore right here. I wouldn't feel safe.
Still a lot of question marks.
I wouldn't
right?
feel safe.
Definitely unsafe picks right here. Last up in this round, let's just kind of read them off. We got T.J. Hawkinson, tight end. We got Joe Burrow, Jerry Jeudy, Terry McLaurin. I don't think we need to go much into Joe Burrow. I think we all kind of love him here.
As long as he stays healthy, we got to monitor
Yeah.
that calf injury of his. I think.
Yeah.
Hopefully he'll be good to go, but just his health is really.
I think tight ends are always interesting. T.J. Hawkinson is the third tight end that's listed. I'm curious how y'all feel because I'm kind of a fade on T.J. Hawkinson. I'm a heavy fade on T.J. Hawkinson. Heavy fade. And so let's talk a situation. Minnesota Vikings, right? Tight end.
Yep.
Kirk Cousins, quarterback. So first of all, you got target hog Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson's gonna get his, right? You got a new rookie wide receiver. I think it's Addison.
Jordan Addison.
Jordan Addison. Guess what? More targets. What's
More mouths to
more
feed.
mouths to feed? It's just like how much how much targets is he going to get? You know, how
Yeah.
it's just like right here, I think if you don't get the other two tight ends, I'm just punting all the way or maybe waiting a little bit further back to get a tight end.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I feel like if you're not getting Kelsey or Mark Andrews, then just go get a later pick tight end. Just get you that nice value one. I wouldn't say use your round 4 on a tight end that's slightly better above the rest.
Listen to this.
I have mixed feelings about TJ Hawkinson as well for all the reasons you listed. But, you know, it's kind of like a pick your poison thing with his offense. Are they going to double Justin Jefferson and then it should be, you know, TJ Hawkinson time?
Maybe.
But, you know, I feel like this is a guy with a low floor, high ceiling. He could put up 4 points. He could put up 44 points. He could explode. He could have that season. I like him for where he's going. You know, I feel like the tight end position really falls off after this guy. If you're not going to get one of these 3 guys at the top here, well, actually, you know what, George Kittle. I do like George Kittle. I think maybe he should be considered around this area as well.
Yeah, are people taking Hawkinson over Kittle?
You can get Kittle about 20 picks later at 63. You can
I think that's low for him, but I think that's really just his injury history.
Because he's injury prone, right?
I think that's
like,
it.
I feel like Kittle has never fucking played the whole season straight, right?
He doesn't, no.
He doesn't. You're going to miss games.
But
Hawkinson, I think, will be in every
maybe he will this year.
I'd rather wait. You can wait 2 rounds. Yeah, wait 2 rounds. Give me Kittle. Maybe 2.5 rounds.
I would much rather have Kittle, even given his. Gosh, that's so stupid. Even given his injury history, I don't even. But I think he could have if he does have a healthy season. Kittle is a league winner. Brock Purdy loves Kittle.
Yep.
But let's be honest, he doesn't stay healthy. He probably won't stay healthy. But that's kind of the risk you're taking there. So
yeah. And the last 2 on the list we had Jerry Jeudy and Terry McLaurin. Scary Terry. How are we feeling about these last 2 receivers?
I want to like Jeudy so bad. I want to believe in
So
Sean
hard.
Payton and Russell Wilson, and I want to believe that, you know, and Jerry Jeudy's always putting up good numbers. He can't stay healthy. There's kind of a lot of question marks. I personally believe that Sean Payton turns around this Broncos offense and they have a good season. It's tough. I'm going to fade him just based off his injury history. He's always hurt, and that's tough for me to put stock into.
Would you have Sutton over Jeudy?
No.
No. If you pick a wide receiver Bronco, it's going to be Jeudy.
It's going to be Jeudy, but I want someone who isn't hurt all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. So that's why I would fade Jeudy. And as far as McLaurin, he's got a new quarterback, Sam Howell. What is this guy going to do? He could come in there and light it up.
Yeah.
I think.
I mean, McLaurin has the talent. He's produced numbers before.
He probably finishes similar to what he did last year with mediocre quarterback or below average.
I'll tell you
wide receiver. Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I probably won't be eyeing McLaurin at this point in the draft, but I do like where his teammate Jahan Dotson is going later in the draft.
Yeah.
He's kind of a sleeper with lots of value. I like Jahan Dotson. If we're going to spend a pick here on this Redskins offense, I think it's going to be at that price. For a guy like Jahan Dotson.
Yeah. These are both 2 wide receivers with a lot of question marks. Jerry Jeudy has a ton of hype.
Yeah,
I've had Jerry Jeudy the last 2 years. I'm kind of over it. You know, you're very fragile. Still don't believe in Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Even the addition of Sean Payton, I'm still fading.
So Dotson's going top
later.
80.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so you can get him pretty late. So that's pretty much the top 48 players. Now, is there any other players that we didn't mention that you are keeping your eyes on that you think could probably sneak their way into the top 48?
Ooh, that's a good question. Why don't you go first, Brian? Because I haven't been looking at the list.
I'm a big fan of Alexander Madison this year.
I agree. That's a great choice.
He's right here at 49 on this list, and honestly, I would rather have him over some of these other players in round 4. There's a lot of question marks as you are going to have with a lot of people in this round, but you know he's in line to take a pretty heavy workload on a good team that in a dome. I kind of like him. I think he's if you go wide receiver, heavy wide receiver starts, he's a great target. You know, to be a good running back value if you're using that strategy. I kind of just like him overall. I think, you know, if there's no additional signings. Kareem Hunt's still out there. If he doesn't sign with the Vikings,
Leonard Fournette as well. That's
Lenny
another,
Fournette.
That's another late round pick to monitor because if
Right.
he does get signed.
Yeah.
So that would be another good pick.
So-
But yeah, I totally agree with Brian here. I do like Alexander Madison. I think he's worth the third, fourth round pick if he does remain the guy in that backfield. Another honorable mention I would have to say, we talked briefly, Justin Fields. If he kind of exhibits the things he did in the back
Yeah.
half of last season, he could absolutely be a league winner. But yeah, those are two solid picks, I think. Outside.
My pick is going to be also a Bear, and it's going to be Herbert.
Oh, okay. I see that.
I think he is also. I think he's going to have a better season than this one.
Clue, yeah.
Yeah. So that's gonna be mine. My secret pick is that's what I'm looking for towards the later end that I think I can pick up and get some good value from that guy because he showed some real good talent. And I think he still has Montgomery with him, right?
Montgomery's a Lion. He now has Dante Foreman.
Oh,
Dante Foreman,
yeah.
formerly of the Panthers. Yes.
Okay. See, I just think Herbert's better.
He
There's a lot of hype behind Khalil Herbert.
He was named the starter. I believe.
Yeah.
He's number one on the depth
I feel like
chart.
the games he played last year really kind of like put a spotlight on him. Like,
Yeah.
this guy can fucking run.
I think that's a solid choice. That's a solid choice.
Well, that was the first 48.
Yeah, guys. Hey, if you like what we said, and you like our picks, let us know. Let us know your picks. Let us know who you're looking out for. If there's anything that you disagree with that you think should be higher, should be lower. Tell me what your plums are saying. you know?
Let us know. Maybe on the next video we'll kind of address some of the comments and see just kind of.
Yeah, we'll be back after we draft, and we'll talk about who we ended up with and whatnot.
Yeah, we'll be here to let you know who we were wrong about.
You're going to hear about it.
We'll eat some crow.
We'll eat some crow. All right, guys. Hey, thanks for watching the E4 Fantasy Football preseason show. As always, I'm Migs. This is Gage, Brian, and we'll see you next time.
Later, guys.
Later.
I never had a father.